Hello. So I've sort of worked out the pace for this channel, and I think every 3 or 2 days seems alright. Every day would be a bit spammy, and every other day, I don't know. Sometimes I just can't work around that. So every 3 or so days, 2 or 3. Now, to the great fortune or misfortune of myself, depending on how you look at it, I've been sick. Now, the sickness itself has not presented normally, but it's presented itself in the way that is eerily reminiscent to probably the worst I've been sick in the last 10 years. Maybe the worst I've ever been sick, for that matter. A few years ago, I got sick and I was out for a full 2 weeks. The first week I was completely inoperable and I couldn't get out of bed. The second week I went to see the doctor, and the doctor gave me a note saying I should rest for another week. I had to miss work and school. Luckily I got extensions on my assignments, but my paycheck was quite small because I neglected to give the doctor's note to my workplace. So they didn't pay me out for sick leave or anything like that. The symptoms started presenting themselves on Saturday, actually, when I called in. But they only really come into effect when I've been moving around a lot, which I do a lot at my job. So, at my job on Sunday, they presented themselves after I strained myself quite a bit for the first hour and a half, and I asked to go home at lunchtime. Then the next day, the same thing happened, and I went home at lunch again. And today I just didn't go in because I'm not getting any better. I feel a little sick in my throat, if I'm being honest. I don't know if you can hear that, but you might be able to. I hope it doesn't diminish the quality of this or make it hard to listen to in any kind of way. Who knows? I procrastinated again. I need to stop. I need to stop doing it, but I just can't. This time, I had an assignment due Sunday, right? Sunday at midnight. In fact, I had 2 assignments due, but I mentioned I'd finished the last one before I posted the other video. The one before this one. And I just barely finished up around midnight. I handed in a slightly unfinished, missing a few lines. I handed that in before the deadline because it closes at midnight. And then I finished the rest of it. But I have another assignment due at 10 a.m. tomorrow. It is currently... What time is it? It is currently 11:40, and I still haven't started. Now, it's not something that's going to take me forever, but I do need to do it, and as of right now, and as of yesterday, and all of today, I still haven't started. I could have worked on it yesterday when I got home from calling in sick to work, But I told myself, no, you're too ill. It's not like, don't push yourself. I should have. I really should have. I'll probably end up doing it after this. Probably. And if not, then I don't know. It's not the end of the world. I've never been one to actually stress about these things. I'll stress the importance of them to myself and to those around me. Like I need to get home and work on this assignment, or I can't be playing games, I need to work on this assignment, or do this or do that before this time. But the stress never hits me. Maybe that's a flaw in my character, or maybe that's something wrong with me. I know it's bitten me before, right? Not caring about deadlines, but my stomach just made a noise. I guess I'm hungry. Yeah. On the bright side, not stressing about it keeps my hair from falling out, keeps me from being a bother to others, generally speaking. So when a person's really stressed, they're not especially fun to be around. It also means that people don't have to go out of their way to make sure I'm not freaking out, that kind of thing, right? I don't want to be a burden to other people. I do wonder how many people struggle with that, right? They develop themselves around the idea that being a burden to other people is something they should never do. Right? Maybe out of a fear of being cared for, or a fear of being a nuisance, or what have you, right? I personally, I would prefer to not have to deal with my friends when they're freaking out, but not because I don't want to deal with someone who's freaking out, but because I don't want my friends to be freaking out at all. I want them to be okay, right? But the same is inverse, right? I don't want my friends to be freaking out that I'm not okay, or something like that. That makes it pretty difficult to talk about things when something is wrong. I'm a very silent person when it comes to my own feelings on things. And because of that, whenever I do have to state my feelings, whether physically or emotionally, actually, it feels like I'm lying or acting. Isn't that funny? Telling the truth feels like lying. I had to do it at work, actually, when I was feeling so physically terrible. And I had to explain myself, right? I said, I'm not feeling well to the manager. I'm not feeling well, right? This sickness is reminiscent to the one time a few years ago when I was very, very ill. And I intend to clock out and go home. And of course, the manager had to ask me, well, like, what are your symptoms, right? And they wanted me to explain myself, almost guilt-tripping me into staying despite my illness, which is a hard thing to come to raps with, because in the moment you feel pressured, right? Like, oh, like, right, like what is my right to sort of drop out in the middle of the race if I'm not feeling that sick? But after the fact, they of course let me go home, right, and accepted my answer. But after the fact, I'm sort of left with the feeling that it should be something more like binary to it, where either I'm sick or I'm not sick, and if I'm sick, I should be able to go home. I don't know. I find any time I try to call in sick, I'm sort of guilt-tripped into staying or otherwise, right? And that comes from a place of too many people going home sick for nonsense reasons, right? You hear about it all the time, like I called in sick, but actually I went to go hang out with my friends that day, that kind of thing. And because I'm young, they might see me doing that, right? I say might see me, I mean might like picture me doing that, but not actually. I've never actually done that. And it also comes from a place of them sort of, some of the time, actually needing me there. A lot of the time I feel like a cog in their machine that can be easily replaced, but the times when I actually enjoy my job is the days I'm needed there. Because a lot of the time, well, I say a lot of the time, really, for a while when I worked there, we were viciously understaffed. We'd have 1 or 2 people call in every day, and then we were like 4 people short of the amount of people working in our section we should have had. And because of that, most days we wouldn't meet our goals, so to speak. Right? We have a list of things we have to have done by the end of every night, and just some nights we wouldn't be able to meet that. But the nights where we did, it was almost always because I pushed the hell out of myself, right? Like I full sprinted from task to task. I didn't take my short breaks. I only took my lunch break. I would take over other people's tasks as soon as they asked me and get it done, and then sprint back to my own. And well, pushing myself for a company that doesn't really care about me that much in the grand scheme of things, it does feel nice to feel needed by my other coworkers. On those days, I actually enjoy my job. And like, I don't think about leaving. But every other day I'm there, all I can think about is being somewhere else, doing something else, right? Especially, we have days where our normal tasks aren't available to us, right? And we just end up doing the jobs of other people in the store while they're preoccupied. It's not like they wouldn't get to them later in the day, but instead we're doing them, and then that offsets the work for the rest of the crews for the next day and a half, until another bad day happens and there's too much to do. And that sort of nonsense making up stuff for me and my coworkers to do just to keep us there, it makes me wish for death sometimes. It's terrible. But I have a job, and I shouldn't complain because a lot of people don't. You know, first world problems and whatnot. Oh. I'm getting close to fixing my sleep schedule. I woke up roughly at noon today without anybody's help. In fact, I don't even think I had an alarm set, but I got up at noon. Today might offset that, as I'm probably going to be working into the night on the assignment, but maybe tomorrow I'll fix it again. Who knows? I hope you've been sleeping well, whoever you are that may or may not be listening. I find good sleep can make or break a day. And I'm sure so many other people find that as well. Every day where I feel like I want to die and I'm just rotting in bed, or I feel like nobody likes me and I'm so alone, those are the days where I haven't slept. Every time. But today, I did sleep, and today I cleaned my room, despite feeling not great. Spring is coming. There's nothing I wait in anticipation for more than spring. Like, not Christmas, not Halloween, not even my own birthday. I'm always more excited for when spring comes. To me, there's nothing better than just sitting under a tree at that perfect, like, any time between 9 and noon. The air is warm but not overwhelmingly hot. The ground is not dry, but it's not damp. And everything is just the right shade of green. There's nothing better than that to me. I've even got I have a rug in my bedroom that is roughly the same color as grass after it's been freshly rained on. I've sort of slipped on my own tongue there. Because that color sort of just like brings a life to me, I guess. It is the color of life, right? I'm just tripping over myself. Not all the snow is melted yet, but it's completely off the roads. So if I wanted to go for a nice drive, or if I was able to leave the house right now, I would. And it would be great, because there'd be nothing to slip on. But what I really want to do is just go out during lunch and just lay on the grass. I made the realization last night that it's been a long time since I woke up to the sound of birds. As a kid, all year round, I got up when the sun came up. And when the sun comes up, the birds come out. I would hear chickadees, crows, geese. Geese were the big one. And back then it meant nothing to me. In fact, I found the geese kind of annoying. I would honk back at them. But now, that sort of reminder that there's life outside my window, it means everything to me. I did hear them this morning. When I woke up at noon, the birds were going off. It wasn't the same as when I was a kid, not the same birds. Similar though. And I think if I wake up earlier, I'll hear it. Still tripping over my tongue. I think if I wake up earlier, I'll hear the birds again. Just not tomorrow. If you're someone who finds himself waking up past noon every day, try just for one day on your free time, maybe, to wake up at like 9 in the morning. Open your window, or if it's cold, make yourself a cup of coffee or tea or something warm, and put on a jacket and just go stand outside and listen. If you live in a suburb, you might not hear that many birds. You might hear cars, buses, general traffic, but that too, in its own way, is a reminder that there's life outside of your window. Different, but similar. Now, I'm not going to recommend this, but if you absolutely loathe the idea of waking up like before noon, then, or even like before evening, right? If you're a real night owl, then instead I challenge you to do this. This is something I did a few years ago when I was unemployed and taking online courses. Stay up the whole night. The whole thing. And when it gets to 8 or 9 in the morning, keep staying up. Get a cup of coffee, get a jacket, and sit or stand outside and just listen to the world wake up around you. Maybe if you don't want to be awake for a little longer, you get something like a warm glass of milk. And you can go to bed after that. Put up the blackout blinds or draw the curtains or whatever. But do take the time to sit outside and listen. During an odd era of my life, which I guess I've already mentioned when I was taking online classes, I used to operate like that. I spent my entire nights playing games and then working on 3D models and things like that, learning. And then when the morning came and my online classes were early in the morning, before my classes, I would crack open my window, get a cup of coffee, say hi to my parents, and then sit out on the roof and listen to the neighborhood wake up. It was beautiful. All this talk about waking up early is making me want to wake up early. But I know I won't be able to do it tomorrow. I want to, but I can't. Not now. I've got things to do. It's unlikely I'll be able to get to class tomorrow. I don't have to be there, but like I've said before, I should be there. I think I'm too sick to go, though. I don't sound that sick, but I feel terrible. I feel terrible. It's not good. It's not good at all. I'll be better, though. I'll be better. I could go on forever, right? Every 10-second pause I have in this is another line I could go down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But I shouldn't, right? I don't know. I think I'll get to work on that project now. If you made it this far into this, I hope you listen to the next one. And if this is something you're using to fall asleep, and you're thinking, wow, that almost worked, but I wish it was longer, then tell me. I'll make them longer. But for now, this is it. Good night.